Thanks, listeners, for joining us. We're so excited to get caught up on our beautiful backcountry, the great outdoors, and the Nevada wildlife with our Nevada Department of Wildlife Conservation Educator, Julie Gabrielson, is in studio. And welcome back, Julie. Not that your staff didn't do a great job on the last show. It was wonderful to feature the work of all of the team there at NDOW.
They do a great job. They really do. I'm so blessed to have such a team. I can't imagine having another team, actually.
Well, they did. They must have done you proud because they were great representatives. And we've got yet another list of exciting things as we're easing into fall and hunting season ahead.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on. School starts on Monday. I mean, it's gone by pretty fast.
Yeah, where did the summer go? We were just lamenting.
Yes, very much so. So starting our school programming this fall, if you have any questions about school programming, teachers out there, and you want to know what we offer, what's available, what schedule is available, because things are filling up fast, you'll need to get a hold of Nicole St. John at 775-777-2391. That's anything from Trot in the Classroom, Know Your Nevada, Nevada Knockout. There's several different programs that we can accommodate with that tailor a little bit more to what you're wanting to do as well. And again, a lot of that is schedule dependent as well. We're also looking to schedule another Pinyon Jay Community Science Workshop, but we're going to do it in Ely, and that'll be sometime this fall. And as of this month, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services has agreed to conduct a status review of those Pinyon Jays to determine if the species needs protection under ESA. So we've got that coming up, and we'll keep you updated on that as we learn more. Project Wild Educators Workshop is coming in fall. It looks like it's probably going to be early October. That's a really cool workshop that allows teachers to kind of run with the program on their own. We teach them how to teach their students through the program. They get a really nice big workbook full of 1 million different activities from K through 12th grade that they can offer up to their classes as well. And it's free to the educators, and they get to take home the book, and it's free for them to keep on. And it also works towards your standard-based curriculum in your classrooms.
Is it Nevada specific, Julie?
It is not. No, it's actually a national program.
Oh, cool.
But you can tailor it and you can kind of tweak some of these the projects and the lesson plans that are in it to accommodate, specific habitat or species as well.
Okay, that's great news. Yeah, that's always helpful. And teachers, they love to reach out for things that are produced this way and that they know they're full of valid facts and just information about this beautiful, landscape.
Absolutely.
Species.
Yeah. And it also applies towards their extended training. So they can apply that towards their yearly training requirements as well.
Oh, good. And I know there's a mention here of some training September 15th.
So that's actually our National Archeries in Schools basic archery instructor training. So if you are a teacher that's already gone through that and you have the program in your school and you have somebody that wants to help out, get a hold of me. We can get them in on this training. It will be September 15th, and we're probably going to hold it at the Flagview Intermediate Gymnasium. And that'll be about a 4-hour program, but there is a preliminary online version that they'll have to do prior to coming to the class. And that, again, is free for our instructors to take that class as well.
It's super popular. It's a great athletic activity, and they're competitive sports nationwide in this.
It is. And the students that, even at a state level, they don't get money or scholarships, but they do get some pretty cool awards. But once they make it to a national level in the national competition, there's some big scholarships there that these students can win. And they're not based on four-year colleges. They can go to a trade school and use it. It's really diverse in how they can use it.
Oh, that's great, Julie. Thank you. And then on to, as we described, hunting season.
Full swing. It is happening. It is going. We actually just wrapped up our Nevada Outdoorsman and Wheelchair Hunt yesterday. What day is today? So we just wrapped that up. We had 4 hunters out with us this year, and all 4 of them were successful in filling their antelope tags. It was a great hunt and a good time, but it does bring us back to hunting season is in full swing. There is widespread road damage done by the recent storms, so pay attention to that when you're out there. There's going to be some water possibly still on the road, even several days after the fact. And some wind damage maybe with some fallen trees and things like that across some of those roads. Bird season's opening up on the 1st. Small game guides are available in the office. And chronic wasting disease, which is a fatal disease of deer, elk, and moose caused by a misfolded protein or prion. Nevada remains free of CWD. We do not have it here in the state, but it is present in our neighboring states. So state law dictates that Nevada hunters that hunt out of state are not allowed to bring any portions of the spine or brain matter back into the state from those animals that they harvest. Numerous check stations will be manned throughout deer season. One will be at Ely Loves and another one at Austin Junction. And a site will also be along the I-80 corridor in Elko County. We just have not determined that site just yet. Self-sampling is also an option. You should have received an email where you can pick up your own self-sampling kits and then send it back to us and bring it back to us. And it also has a video describing the process of how to do that. And the next option is that you can bring those animals into the office, one of the field offices, to be sampled, and we'll do the sampling right there with you actually watching even. And you just need to call ahead to make sure that we've got a biologist or somebody available that can do that.
Okay, that's super important, though. You've got to do this to help, maintain our status as being disease-free in the state.
Absolutely. This is one way we stay ahead of it.
Okay, Julie, good advice. And, unfortunately, it looks as though you've also suffered some damage because of storms to some of those guzzlers.
Yeah, our past winter, which we couldn't have asked for more precip. It was fantastic for that, but it did cause some damage to some of our guzzlers throughout the state. So while you're out and about, if you come across a guzzler and you happen to inspect it and look around it and you see any structural issues, fence problems, or any discrepancies with the water levels, give us a call, report it to us. You can just call the main office at 775-777-7300, and they'll take the information down and get it to the right person. And I'm sorry, not 7,300, 2,300.
I was going to say, I think something else is 7. Yeah, you're good. You're good. A lot of numbers.
Yeah, a lot of numbers lately. And then the bighorn sheep and domestic sheep interaction. That's another report that we would love to hear back. If you see any wandering bighorn outside of their normal areas of use, or domestic sheep outside of their normal areas and interacting with the bighorn, please give us a call and let us know of that location so that we can take care of that.
Yeah, because of, again, the pathogens that are carried by the domestic sheep. And, whether or not we have sheep grazing, they're going to be with shepherds, right? They're going to have caretakers, so they shouldn't be mixed, right?
Yeah, and there's stragglers. There's ones that they do their own thing on occasion, and same thing for the bighorn sheep. Sometimes they just go off on their own and do their own thing, and the domestic sheep don't show that they have any sign of these pathogens that cause the disease that is fatal to the bighorn sheep population.
All right, it's important to make those reports so we can keep those populations separate. And, oh boy, again, with hunting, I guess, comes some accidents and some, information. People need to know about where they're hunting. They need to be careful about this.
Be aware of where you're at. Increased hunting near residential areas like Spring Creek, Pleasant Valley, Lamoille, South Fork, usually especially during archery season. You really need to know what your laws are and where your boundaries are. Even if you take a shot at one of those deer or whatever you're hunting, and you're outside of those residential areas, there's always that chance that after the shot they'll run into a residential area and you won't be able to recover them. So be really aware of that when you're making your shot and when you're picking your hunting areas. Know your target, species identification, and multiple animals. When you see multiple animals in your sight window, again, know your target and pick your shot and be ethical about it. And same thing with your species identification. There's almost yearly we have harvests that are taken of the wrong species for the tag that the hunter is holding. Some of our common violations are shooting from across the road, loaded firearm in a vehicle, carrying another person's tag, or failure to punch your tag. Parents, if you're hunting with your child does need to be carrying his tag. One really easy way to do that is, strap that tag and actually tape it using some electrical tape on the stock of their gun. Or, if they're going to be wearing a pack that's not going to be coming off, putting it there. Maybe even strapping it around their their calf underneath their pant leg. There's several different ways between their sock and their pant leg, but they need to have it on them. So just be aware of that.
All right. That's, again, a really important thing, and it's easy to overlook. So
it is.
But it still counts as a violation. So just kind of stick with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good advice.
It's okay to be creative and find a way for your child to carry their own tag.
Tape a note to their back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we still have folks who are out boating. We know boating safety. Once again, we sadly had a fatality this year. So.
Yes, we did. Boating safely, and it applies to all vessels out on the water, not just your motorized boats. Wear a life jacket. You cannot go wrong by wearing your life jacket. It is required for anybody under 12. And it's required to have enough jackets on board for anybody that's on the vessel with you as well, whether they're 12 and under or older. Paddleboards, kayaks, again, they need to wear their PFDs. We have fatalities every year with these that really could have been prevented with PFD use. So highly recommend it. Just wear it. They make some pretty streamlined ones now to where you can wear them and not feel like you're the marshmallow, Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Yeah. They make some good ones out there. So just wear it. That's all we can say is just wear it. We're really going to encourage you guys to always wear your life jacket.
All right. Another area of responsibility is using your recreational vehicles.
Yes, OHV use on public lands. Just be respectful. Stay on existing trails and 2 tracks. It's dry, but it's also we also still have some issues left over from that last storm, like we mentioned in the early on. But recreate responsibly. I always say be smart, be safe, and have a ton of fun doing it. So it kind of just comes back to all of that. Just be it out there. Maybe even use the quads that you were born with.
Yeah, that's a good.
Get some exercise. Yeah.
Joe Doucette loved to say that.
Yeah.
So we're giving you a shout out, Joe.
Yeah. And then again, private property. That's a big part of it too. There's enough digital resources out there to where we know when it's private property and when it's not anymore. If you're not sure if it's private, but you're seeing, a house nearby or some fencing that you can track back to a landowner, go knock on the door. A lot of them will let you have access if you just take the time to make that contact with them.
That's really an important point. Yeah, just don't venture out on your own. And, along those lines, too, I know you're going to talk about the TIP app, which is super easy to download. We were talking with BLM officials, Julie, and they've had a rash of vandalism and theft from the boxes, where you pay your fees at some of our state parks. So we had mentioned you could use Operation Game Thief, too, if you need to report something, but you should never approach somebody in the field.
Yeah, it's just not smart to approach somebody in the field. If you see something that's just a little hinky and just a little suspicious, just take down all the information you can. If you get pictures or video, that helps as well. Do it from a distance and call in using our OGT, our Operation Game Thief phone number 800-992-3030. Or you can download the NDOW TIP app, and you can do the same thing right through there. You can do it anonymously, or you can give your information as well.
Okay, always a good idea. And it's led to a lot of, prosecutions, frankly. I mean, you need these eyes in the field because we just don't have enough wardens.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, everybody out there can help out.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I asked the young women last month, Julie, because we've had bats in our neighborhood just in residential streets in Elko. So it's that time of year, right?
It is that time of year, bat migration. If you see a bat roosting outside on your property, eaves, trees, or screens, just leave it be. It's probably going to move on in a couple of days, if not even after just a single day. Bats are on the move right now. Juveniles are dispersing, and some species are beginning the migration is what's happening. Plus, with our recent weather, it may be creating some challenges for the bats, holding up in unusual places. It might be found roosting under the eaves or screens during the day. If the bat is outside, not on the ground and sitting still, it's best to just leave them alone and they'll move on, like we mentioned. Call NDOW when a bat is found inside the home, if a human or pet has come into contact with the bat, or if the bat is not behaving normally, such as it's alive and just hanging out on the ground even in the daylight. Most bats do not have rabies. However, every year we do submit bats for rabies testing, and usually 1 to 2 from the Elko area do come back positive. The best bet is be safe and don't touch the bat. Keep your pets away from them and just let them be. and then call us if you have any further concerns or questions about it.
Okay, but it is typical, and you will probably see them if you haven't already.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
And fishing, still hearing lots of great reports, seeing lots of great Facebook photos, or some beautiful fish around here, Julie.
Yeah,
Very cool.
we even I think 2 weeks ago we had a water record for the Humboldt River with one of the common carps that was caught out of there.
Yeah, that was huge.
It had already been gutted, and so when he brought it in for measuring, and it was still 22 pounds. So it probably would have weighed quite a bit more, or a couple pounds more, anyways. Depending on I don't know. It would have been bigger, but it was a beautiful fish that they caught out of the Humboldt River out in Eureka County. So the fish are still being caught, and big fish are being caught. My kids were out at Wild Horse just less than 3 or 4 days ago, and caught some really nice trout out of there. So the fishing is still good. You can beat the heat by hiking up to some of our alpine lakes, because those are going to be really good right now too. Just take your fishing rod. I've even known of some people taking some of their float tubes or even paddle boards up to some of the lakes and doing some fishing out there. They're having great success landing brook trout and at Island Lake, also, as well as at Liberty Lake.
Oh, nice. And nothing like, if you can and you're camping, you can cook those up right there.
Absolutely.
That is as fresh as it gets.
It does. You can't beat that. And then the late summer algae and weed growth is inhibiting some of the shoreline fishing at some of the reservoirs. But the boaters are still having success when accessing clearer water in the mid-lake. Check out the latest stocking and fishing reports can be found at NDOW.org.
Oh, and then there's that great app, right? Fish NV?
Fish NV, yes.
Okay.
And that app is so cool. We have one for hunting as well, but basically you can go in to either one of them and you can pick for Fish NV. You can pick the water that you want to explore and learn more about that particular body of water. You can go in there and you can search by the area that you want to start fishing. So let's say Elko County, and then it will break down what's in Elko County. You can sort it by the type of fish that you're looking for. There's so many different ways to filter it and pick out and see what you can do in the area. And that's statewide.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And we have so many places to fish. I mean, people might drive through and say, oh, it's, high desert. But no, I mean, just all along this I-80 corridor, or getting off the beaten path a little bit, head out to the marshes.
Yeah. And I'm getting ready to post a really cool video.
Oh, neat.
That somebody took out at the marshes in the last week of a gopher snake catching a bass. Oh. And it's really so cool, and I can't wait to post it because it's really unique. It's not something that you see, but unless you get out, you got to get out and enjoy nature to be able to see some of the cool things that happen out there.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. You can find a lot of NDOW videos on your very own YouTube page, or channel.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got lots of YouTube videos.
Yes, you and me both. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, lots of different things out there. Anything from instructional videos to just cool happenings and events and programs that we've got going on.
All right. Well, in all this fun we're talking about, for a lot of it, there needs to be some accountability, and that's in the form of, having some sort of permit or a tag or some paperwork.
Yeah, operations, man. Brandy and Natalie, man, do they keep us in line?
Yeah, good thing. Thank you, ladies.
Yeah, so our first come, first serve, that is open now. So you can pick up, if you happen to win a first come, first serve tag, you can pick up at any of the NDOW offices or have it shipped to you. If you choose to have it shipped to you, just be aware of when that season open is, because sometimes it may not make it to you on time, and you're going to end up having to come into an office anyways, and then you're going to have to pay for a duplicate tag. So just be aware of those season dates when you're picking up those first come, first serves and choosing how you're going to actually get that tag in hand. The Himalayan snowcock, the free use permits can be done online or in the office. Grouse, dove, and snowcock, as we mentioned earlier, open September 1st. And return tags, they must be received in the office at least 1 day prior to opening day of your hunt. You can download those forms at ndowlicensing.com, or you can pick one up at the NDOW office. You can mail the form back to the address listed, or again, you can come and do it all in office as well. And back to the duplicate tag, if you need one of those, whether you didn't get in the mail, it got destroyed in the laundry, whatever reason you need a duplicate tag, you're going to fill out a form, and then you're going to pay $10 for a reprint. You do need your driver's license for that.
All right. And this is the other good news about using this technology is you can select auto renewal.
Yes. So our new licensing system, your license is good from the date that you purchased it. So it's good for 1 full year after the day that you purchased it. And there is the option for auto renewal on that. Some people don't realize that they've hit that, and the next year they're getting a charge for it unknowingly and unaware that it's happening at the time that it is. So just be aware of that. It is an option. You can also remove that option so that you take the time to go and get your license every year.
Okay, that sounds good. We're at the point too, Julie, where we did want to kind of mention, as you mentioned earlier, know your target, know your locations. There have been some issues. For example, there are a lot of deer in Spring Creek, right?
Yes.
So people maybe, especially new to the area, they might say, well, on my map, I can hunt this particular area, but there are some conflicts.
There are some conflicts. And, there's a county ordinance, Elko County Ordinance 7119 addresses discharging firearms in any of these areas that you just mentioned. But just as importantly, it also addresses discharging deadly missiles. And an arrow falls under that descriptive. So if you're out there archery hunting, and even for longtime residents, there's some fairly nice bucks that hang out in that area, and sometimes it can be a little tempting. And it kind of goes back to those property lines and the boundaries, Pleasant Valley, and Spring Creek, Lamoille, South Fork, all of those areas. Know those boundaries, know where what the potential is of that deer going back into those residential areas, as well as where you're firing from. So it's really important that you know your county ordinances and your property laws for those areas if you're choosing to hunt closer to residential areas.
And that idea too, or the fact that it's private property too, as you mentioned, you've got to have advance permission. You can't just shoot the animal and then go up the driveway and collect it and then.
Exactly. So for instance, if your animal does happen to go back into residential area, you took a shot outside of residential area on public land, it went into private property, you have to have that landowner's permission to recover that deer. Or antelope or elk, whatever it may be that
or
you're hunting.
Lion or whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever species it is that you're hunting, that property owner still has to give that permission for you to come in and recover that deer there. I keep going back to deer just because of deer season.
Exactly. Yeah, and there are so many in Spring Creek.
And Spring Creek, yes. So these are really important things to consider when you're planning your hunt, when you're tempted to hunt near some of these residential areas. And there's a lot of things that can happen with that. So, and it might even be down to the point that you wound a deer, it ends up dying on somebody's property, private property, and you don't get to recover that deer.
Right. So you don't want that to go. That's sort of a wanton waste issue, right? That's, that can be a problem too. Now we do have questions that come up every year, Julie, like if can you purchase a resident tag if you're a non-resident? For example, you want to go deer hunting. I noticed that there's a provision for that here on one of your.
Oh yes, you're talking about our first come first serve.
Yes. Oh, sorry about that. Yes, I'm under that category.
Yes. Can I purchase a resident tag if I'm a non-resident? Yes, with the exception of any junior mule deer, Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep, and mountain goat tags. Tags returned to the department become residency agnostic before becoming available for purchase in the first come first serve program. Residency pricing will remain the same at checkout though.
Okay, because there might be an issue of, say, families coming or people are coming from out of state and they kind of want to meet up and do this hunting. And if there are still tags available, they could apply.
Well, yeah. So they're all separate transactions. Mm-hmm. So, only one tag can be placed in a shopping cart at a time and will be the only item outside of the license that can be purchased per transaction.
Yeah. So you can't go in and do a bulk.
No, you can't. And once that tag comes up and you put it in your cart, you have about 5 minutes to complete that purchase.
Wow.
Otherwise, it gets put back out into the system for somebody else to have the opportunity to pick up on.
All right. So the first come, first serve tags, again, they're available because they're tags not issued from the main and second draws. They've been returned or returned less than 14 days prior. So there could be any number of tags, right? It's worth it if you want to try.
There could. And there's been a lot of tag returns this year already. And we're just a couple weeks, we're about 3.5 weeks into hunting season between antelope, deer, and elk. Antelope opened on the 1st of August for archery. and I believe Tuesday was the rifle season that opened. So we've only got, a couple of weeks into the season, we've already had a lot of tags returned. And so if they can't go back into the alternate program, because when people sign up and put in for the draw, they have an option to be an alternate. So if somebody turns in the tag and there's no alternates for that tag, then it goes into the first come, first serve system. And there it's first come, first serve. It really is. And it's got about 24 hours before it hits randomly in the app and in the program for people to start seeing it. So once that's seen, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 5 hours before it's picked up. It just depends on who's sitting there at the right time and in front of their monitor to see it.
All right. Sounds like an exciting time.
It can be, yes.
Definitely. And obviously, if you have any questions about this process or any of the other topics we've been discussing today, you can reach out to Nevada Department of Wildlife and, give them a call. Check out information online, certainly. And I know with the time that we have, did you want to mention the Wild and Scenic Festival that's coming up and NDOW's going to be a part of?
Yeah, so the museum on September 30th, and we'll have a table there for the beginning of this. They're doing a film festival, and it's called Wild and Scenic, and it's conservation-based films is what we're told. It's starting at about 6 o'clock at the museum. 12 films with a cocktail hour hosted by the Silver Dollar. There's going to be some raffles for them, and it's free to attend. So again, we will have a table there just with some general information about NDOW and some of our programs during the cocktail hour, and then the films will take place. So that's happening at the museum. You can reserve your seats now. Get a hold of the museum to do so with that.
Very cool. I know California Trail Interpretive Center is super excited to be partnering in that effort too, and just to kind of raise awareness about some of these places that we have that have already been in conservation, or the kinds of conservation that we're doing in Northeast Nevada. That's so important.
Yes, absolutely. And looking at this flyer too, you can reserve your seats online at the California Trail Center's events page. Okay. So you should be able to do that online as well.
Hey, and also just kind of in closing, just giving a shout out to your colleague, Caleb McAdoo. That was pretty cool news.
It is so exciting.
Yeah.
So exciting for him.
So he's going to be a deputy director with Nevada Department of Wildlife, and that includes, director of operations, and it's for this whole region. And I understand he'll be able to do even more of the great work that he's already accomplished.
Absolutely. Just on a different front.
Exactly.
And it's actually statewide.
Yes.
It's not just for this region, but he will be based out of this office.
That's right. He doesn't have to move.
Correct.
That's the other thing.
And director of operations, he'll also be the director of habitat and conservation education.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrific. Oh, that's great. And Caleb is local. I mean, he's as local as it gets.
He's local and he is sharp. He is, such a great man for the job.
Yeah. And
can't be happier for him.
Oh, yeah. And happier for all of us. So that was just wonderful news. And that was announced by Alan Genet when Governor Lombardo was in town, and we were up at Camp Lamoille and just sort of marveling at the day. You couldn't have asked for a more beautiful day. Yeah. And to see, speaking of conservation, renovation, and collaboration, Julie, everybody that worked so hard to rebuild the campground.
Yeah. It's beautiful. The vegetation is coming back wonderfully up there. I actually need to get up there and get some pictures of the rehab that's happened and just compare to what it was a couple years ago after the devastation that went through there from that fire. So it's such a neat progressive example of what we can do with habitat restoration up there.
Yes, so thank you. And I'm sure next time we talk, we'll maybe get a little update on the urban fishery. I know it's probably still in the works because it takes time.
Yeah, and there's a second component to it that we'll announce at a later date. But yes, it's definitely, it's still moving forward. It's just a snail's pace right now.
Yes, like anything else, good things come to those who wait.
Absolutely.
And, James Wiley, City of Elko Parks and Recreation Director, he is definitely on board, and others that we've talked to recently, Julie. So it's going to be fantastic.
Yes, it will be.
So thanks for all your great work.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.